going to be into back to school mode shortly.
Right.
It's a time of great stress for families for a lot of reasons. What tips can you give to parents in terms of managing that stress for themselves and their children?
Yeah, and I think that, Lianne, that's really the point, is that it's a twofold process. On the one hand, the children are stressed. Not everybody, of course, but some of the kids are worried. Are they going to like their teacher? Are they going to do well in school? Are they going to be in the right class with their friends? Are they going to be left out? Is everyone going to remember them after the summer? Are they going to be able to get up early in the morning and get back in the saddle, back into that routine? And so the kids are going through, a lot of concerns. And particularly if you have a child that's going to a new school, or that's going to be in a different class, or that's moving from elementary school to junior high school or high school, that you have kids that are wondering, what's it going to be like? So we have the child having their own questions sometimes. Of course, some kids love going back to school and seeing their friends, and it's not an issue. But for those kids that are concerned, we have kids having their own questions. But then, most importantly, we have the parent's response and how the parent is able to help the child with this transition. And what so often happens is that when the parent sees the child's anxiety, the parent gets worried. And the parent might even remember his or her own going back to school time and how hard it was and how difficult it was. Or they're just deeply worried about how their child's going to manage it. So the child has a twofold problem. One, he's worried perhaps about going back to school. And two, he can see that his parents are worried for him. So like so many things in life, I really think that the key is to keep a long view. That is very normal for the first week or 2 weeks of school to be a disruptive period for a child. But if the parents get disrupted too, then the whole household is in chaos. So what we want the parents to do is to be able to be both empathetic, be able to hear their worries, hear their concerns, but not take them on themselves. So too often parents want to fix it. The child comes home and he's unhappy about something. He's not in the right class, he doesn't like his teacher, he doesn't like where he's sitting, something about it, and the parent wants to ride in on the white horse and fix it. And there's a huge problem in that, and I feel very strongly about this, which is that the children never learn how to reach down inside of themselves, pull up the courage to face these kinds of problems. So they don't have to be happy right off the bat. The best outcome would be if he's not happy with his class and not happy with his teacher, but over the course of a few days or a couple of weeks, he learns how to cheer himself up, and he learns how to make new friends, and he learns how to understand this teacher, and he learns how to be successful in this environment. That's a much better outcome than a parent rushing into school on the third day of school and saying, you have to move my son, he's not happy in his class. And even worse, if the teacher or the principal says, okay, and we'll put him in the class that he's in, then this child really never gets to learn that life doesn't always go your way, and it's not the end of the world, and sometimes if you can stick it out, things can be even richer than you imagined they might be in the other class, let's say, for example.
What would you counsel parents who are seeing their children off to university, perhaps in another city for the first time? What would you say to them about managing that transition?
Yeah, I think that in that age group, we're talking now like 17, 18 years old, it's a whole other kind of transition, because it's not only a new school or a new class, but it's a totally new lifestyle. And it's also all this freedom that the kid never had before. And even in that case, I would sort of give the same kind of advice, that let them bounce around. That first few months, living in a new place, integrating into the dorm, learning of the new city, it's going to be a challenge, and it is going to be difficult. That being said, you have to watch carefully for serious signs of depression, like a child who's really isolating herself, who doesn't seem to be getting into the swing of things, who maybe is sleeping all the time, who's maybe eating too much or not eating, you know, and the real clinical signs of depression, at that age, you have to take them quite seriously, and you might need to sort of check in with her more frequently to make sure that she's really not getting into a bad state. But I think that if parents expect that there's going to be a period of transition, then they won't be so blown away when that transition actually comes. And again, you know, to be that steady voice, everybody wants to hear, I know it's rough, but it's going to get better. I know this is hard for you, but I know you can do this. I have confidence in you. I trust you. When people say that to even us as adults, it makes us feel better. It makes us feel stronger. If the parents start freaking out and the parents get anxious and the parents say, do you want me to come pick you up? Do you want to come home? Then the child's, it's sort of feeding on the weakness that the child is feeling at the moment. One of the big tips, I think, for everybody, you know, going through a hard time is that there's no way around it. You have to go through it. And that very often, if you can just keep going, just keep plodding along, just keep showing up in class, putting your body there, trying to do your homework, trying to focus on the important things, little by little, it gets better. And then you have that wonderful feeling of accomplishment, you know, that you got through a hard time and you mastered it.
What advice would you give to a student about transitioning into back to school, regardless of their age or situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that very often they expect too much right away. They expect that they're going to make friends right away. They expect that they're going to get it in terms of the schoolwork, that they're going to find their way around the new location, the new school, that they're going to be integrated right away. And I think, you know, for the student, for him and her or herself, you know, it's really accepting the fact that there is going to be a period of transition and to sort of settle into that experience of not knowing. Very often people feel like, I got to get in there and right away I got to figure out where everything is. But, you know, to sort of not feel like you're dumb just because you don't know where the cafeteria is, or, you know, that you're a loser because you don't know where the bookstore is. That it's okay to be a newbie. It's okay to be the new person on campus. And that you can accept that identity for yourself without feeling as though you're failing.